or what you want to see, or or things you want to see that you haven't seen yet. That's the way you got to do it with everybody.
Like, they gotta find out the reason why. So you start, like you said, and then start nitpicking, thinking outside the box.
What it do. It is B. Damone and Coach Gomez in the house. And you are watching episode 114 of Along the Wire. We are back in Level Up Productions, and it is a great day. It's been a great weekend of football, high school and college. And we're going to dip into a little bit of college, but of course we're going to keep it 100% San Antonio. And I'm sorry. The name of this episode is "The Champ is Here," because there are games that are deciding district championships, partial parts of district championships. So we're gonna get into that as well. And as you were watching, we were having a little bit of a conversation because we are talking college football. You don't get to college football unless you commit. So we have got some commitment announcements, some from the past that we haven't been able to talk about, and some very recent. And we're going to talk a little bit about those players. Let's start off with Shane Johnson from Johnson High School. Congratulations on your commitment to Sam Houston State. That is a Johnson receiver who also plays basketball.
Yeah.
Big kid, about 6'3". I think he's over 200, or he's around 200. I mean, when he puts the pads on, he just looks bigger. Great frame, good physical ability. Great at using his body, soft hands, and a pretty sure catcher.
Yeah, runs great routes as well.
Mm-hmm. So he commits to Sam Houston State. What kind of player do you think that they're getting in Shane?
I mean, kid's real committed and getting better. Over the summer, I saw him work out with Battles' team, Smoke. Texas Smoke, yeah. So, I mean, a kid puts in the work, real good attitude. They're going to get a kid that has a great upside. I think he's not done growing. That's if you ask me. He probably has another 2 more inches of growth.
Right. I think he's gonna get some man muscle, so to speak, because he's a big kid. So he's gonna be either cutting down or adding muscle, and it'll look more slim. He might get a little heavier, but it's gonna be more cut.
Yeah, for sure. He probably gain another 15 to 20 pounds. They probably won't put too much weight on him, but like you said, they're going to define him a little bit more, get him a little more faster, bring him up to par on the routes that they're running, the offensive scheme that they're looking to establish out there. But, he's going to be a great addition. I see him contributing real early.
Definitely. Next up, we have got Simeon Woodard, defensive back, Veterans Memorial, committing to Montana State. Honestly, I'm not too well versed on Montana State, but I'm pretty good on Simeon. This kid is a freakish athlete, very quick twitch, and I mean, I guess if he's ever burnt, he has incredible makeup speed, because it doesn't seem like he's ever out of many plays. I know that you've seen him on some workouts, and me more so on film. But what type of defensive back do you see in him?
Simeon has a high football IQ. Montana's getting a great DB. I mean, I don't know if a whole lot of people don't know this, but Montana's a powerhouse in that FCS division. So he picked a great school. Montana knocked out Incarnate Word a couple of years back in the playoffs. But yeah, Montana's a rich program. Simeon's going to fit, I think, perfect in their defensive scheme. Same thing with him. He's going to add another 20 pounds, I think, as soon as he gets there. And hopefully he doesn't lose any speed.
Right.
But, yeah, Simeon's a great cover corner, great nickel defense. The guy can play man.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I mean, you can pretty much
You can use.
set it and forget it with him.
He's basically an every down corner,
Right.
and I see him getting a lot of playing time early.
Awesome. And so you mentioned the school, and so I think they got a steal in a quarterback.
Oh, they did corner, yeah.
Um, Cannon Williams announced his commitment this week to the University of Incarnate Word in San Antonio, Texas. So you got Harlan's quarterback staying home in San Antonio, committing to UIW. Everybody knows Cannon's my favorite quarterback here in the city to watch and to see play. I mean, just the arm talent and the way that he places the ball is just incredible to me. I think that UIW got a heck of a quarterback in Cannon, and I think that that's going to be a great recruiting tool for the receivers for the next few years to come.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Cannon?
Cannon's a never say die attitude type of quarterback. I mean, I think through watching a lot of the games this season.
Another Texas Smoke player.
But that kid, his mentality is a little different. You know what I mean? He also has a high football IQ, but I mean, he battled through injury, he battled through adversity, he battled through a lot of stuff this season, and that mentality that he has, man, is just you can't coach that. You got to have it, you know, and the kid has it.
Yeah.
And I think UIW and picking him up, they strengthened up their backfield as far as, you know, not just physically but mentally as well. And I hope that they insert him early. I hope he sees a little playing time early.
Right.
Of course, he has Copeland in front of him, who's a damn good quarterback. But I think Cannon can pick some things up from Copeland as well. And if they can get him in just to get his feet wet, I think that's next year, that sophomore season, that he's really going to tear it up for UIW.
So is this a pressure commitment for the quarterbacks in the quarterback room right now?
Could be.
Okay.
Could be, man.
Okay. Awesome. So congratulations to Cannon, congratulations to Simeon, and congratulations to Shane. And we will keep announcing commitments as they happen, because with Cannon's name out there, now you have some other big fish as far as like some of the top players in the city who have yet to announce those commitments.
Yeah.
Some of the bigger names, Cameron Scott's already committed. Robert Rigsby's already committed. You got Lucas Coley that's already committed. So now that Cannon's off the board, you're going to start looking for the DeAnthony Lewises. You're going to start looking for the Dre Spriggs. You're going to start looking for the Jordan Battles. These names are going to start coming down the pipeline.
I need Max Domenico. You still got Caleb Camarillo still needs to commit. You got a few guys out there like
you still got Micah Young that has to commit.
Correct.
So there's going to be some State and Ankrum. You still got a bunch of 2021s that are going to commit, and some of these schools are going to be getting some awesome players. And the conversation that we were having led me to this thought. I've been having conversations all week on recruitment and COVID.
Yeah.
Now, players in San Antonio, Texas, across the nation, period. These schools are going to be selective. Everybody wants to go D1. I get it. You have to respect those D2, D3 offers, because if you're willing to sit at home, then you're not willing to grind.
Yeah.
If you're not going to accept that D2 offer because of whatever situation might shake out, but you have something definite, you're not going to get better at home or training by yourself than you are getting that physical competition one-on-one with somebody daily.
Yeah.
So respect that D2, D3 offer, because that D1's not there.
Yeah.
Because everybody's being as selective as these colleges are when everything's afloat and good. Right now, you're dealing with seniors in colleges that are having to think if they're going to be around for a fifth or sixth year because this year doesn't count.
True.
Do they value that more than bringing in this freshman, this kid who's unproven, or keeping this senior am I going to develop this kid, or did this senior just get hurt and we were looking to have a bigger year with him
Yeah.
than what was possible this year? And since this year doesn't count, I still have him over here. So if you're not getting that D1 offer, you better really consider these Division II offers, because they're better than staying at home.
And you know, some of these kids get it twisted. You know, of course, you want to go to a big Power 5 school and get an education and play football there. But at the end of the day, some of these NAIA, some of these D2, D3s, I mean, Southwestern not in Georgetown, that's a prestigious school. That's a great school. So, I mean, yeah, they're not a D1 school, but as far as the school itself and academics, that's a hell of a school.
Right.
I mean, every now and then you'll hear it called like the Harvard of the South,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a D3 school. So you're always one injury away, right?
Yeah.
From ending your career. You're always one injury away. So, yeah, we want to go to Power 5 school, but at the end of the day, I think we also need to really take a look at academics, because once your career is over, what are you really going to fall back on?
Right.
You know? And a lot of kids don't see it that way, because, of course, we're kids and we only see that, oh, we want to play football, we want to play football. But once when you get older, you become parents, I think that's when you got to step in and say, like, hey, man, school's the way to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You need to have that in your back pocket. They can't take away that degree from you, man.
Exactly. And you have a lot of D2s that have plenty of ex-NFL coaches that have those same dreams as you of going Division I in their coaching careers.
Yeah.
So you're getting that tutelage from pros anyhow who are on the same mission as you. So if they're imparting all their knowledge into a player with the same goal and dream as them, you got to think about how you're attaching yourself to these coaches.
Yeah.
Because they want you to succeed just as you want to succeed and get to that next level. So, I mean, you're picking the college because you like the school and you think you can go pro in it. So why not pick a school that's going to have a coach there who has the same ambitions as you do? If you consider going Division II or Division III, and I know some of y'all don't want to be there the entire 4 years, so you're thinking of transferring. Let's not play. So, look at that staff and get with the coaches that you want that can help you get to where you want to go. And you got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah, that's the main thing, is be honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest with yourself.
And if you're not willing to put in the work for a D2, then you're probably not willing to fight for a position in D1, and that might be the reason why you haven't gotten the offer.
Yeah.
Because like some players that I'm going to talk to after the show, I'm like, hey, your success for next year, like Coach Gomez always says, it begins now.
Yeah.
It begins now.
If you're out of the playoffs right now and you're sitting at home listening, you should have already been grinding.
Right.
You're already on it. You already have your plan for next
right.
season. You should be grinding right now. If
right.
you're out of the playoffs, you should be grinding right now.
Exactly. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Don't wait around for the D1s. You better hop on a D2 and get in it and get on it.
And I hate saying this, and especially right now on the air, but I mean, I'm going to say it. So there's nothing saying that you can commit. You can commit to a D2 or D3. Go ahead and commit. And right before signing day, if a D1 comes in and that's something a route you want to take, you decommit and sign with your D1. But lock down something before it's too late.
Yeah.
Lock down something before it's too late.
And then even all right, go ahead. Even in that decision, is heavy.
Yeah.
I get it. And I understand why you say that, because it can happen the opposite way as well.
Yep.
And we know and have heard of situations in which it's happened in both ways. So lock something down, but know that if that opportunity comes up, what comes along with it.
Yep.
Because if you're not willing to work hard, or if something just happens to fall in your lap, you better think about the relationships and everything that have happened.
And you hit it right on the money, man. These relationships that you build with these coaches. I mean, yeah, you could be talking to this D2, D3 that they've been calling you for the last 6 months, and then the Power 5 comes in and they've only been talking to you for 2 days, and you want to flip your commitment.
And trust, those Power 5s are going off their name. They aren't going off their relationship.
Exactly right. That's what I was just going to say, because then once you get on campus, guess what? The love that you thought you were going to get from that D1, you're just another number.
Right.
And the relationship you built with that D2, D3, because they were really interested in you.
Right.
That's when you start having your second thoughts. Man, I want to transfer. Did I make the right decision?
Right.
Yada, yada, yada.
Right.
If I had to give you advice, I would go to a school that you've built a relationship with the coach. The coach actually acknowledges you. You build a relationship with the strength and conditioning coach, your position coach.
Right.
So when you get up on when you show up there, you're not just a number. You're actually a person that they know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
They built that relationship for the last 6-7 months, and you're gonna feel comfortable and you're gonna feel at home, rather than showing up and you're just another guy in line.
Exactly.
And we just picked you up because you had 2 or 3 stars, but
we
really
needed
don't know
to fill a spot.
Yeah, and we needed to fill a spot. We didn't really know you.
Exactly.
So make a wise choice.
Exactly. And speaking of wise choices, it's not necessarily Rashad Wisdom, but his teammate, a kid from the San Antonio area, went to Judson, who is blowing up on the national scene right now. I'm gonna just go a little bit offhand. Joe, do we have the picture for Sincere going? Okay, so it's going. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, if you could put it up there real quick. Awesome. So it was already going. That's perfect. Sincere McCormick, committed to UTSA from Judson, 3-star running back coming out of high school. Had other offers as well. Chose to stay home, and he is flourishing at UTSA. Just want to take time, and also going to be doing this as, we were having a conversation of other players who have had great games. Sincere's having the best season of any player from San Antonio at the college level right now.
And I wouldn't say, I don't want to leave him out, and I don't want to take any shine from Sincere, but Rashad Wisdom as well, bro.
Oh yeah,
side of the ball.
Oh yeah,
Rashad Wisdom as well. So
yeah,
both of them. I was thinking about this last night. Both of them committing to UTSA,
right,
and being game changers on both sides of the ball, and both of them from Judson. I mean, that says a lot.
Yeah.
And not only that, like you said, I mean, we were talking about Jalen Jones last night. We were talking about DeMarvin Leal.
Yeah.
3 of the guys we talked about are from Judson, and 1 guy's from Steele. You know what I mean? So on that side of town, man, I don't know what's in that water, but it's happening.
and that's as people want to tout it, SEC.
Yeah.
So now back to Sincere.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have a propensity to jump out the boat on guesses and things like that. I'm just an ambitious type person when it comes to things that I go all in on. So before the game yesterday, Sincere McCormick was the second leading rusher in the nation. He was behind by 166 yards. If you go to rivalsbirdsup.com and check the article on the predictions that I wrote a very ambitious article on what I thought that UTSA was going to do. Now, to myself, and I later told our boss Javi, I think Sincere McCormick is going to go for 250 yards before the game, and I'm like, okay, because going up against North Texas hadn't been on the field that much, worst defense and best offense, it was going to be a shootout, so I knew it was going to be that. Sincere McCormick yesterday went for 251 yards, 2 touchdowns on 23 carries, and is now at 1,345 yards, putting him 85 yards in front of the second place rusher in the nation. So he is now the leading rusher in the country, and also has a career high 11 touchdowns this year, and has toted the rock more than he did in his freshman year, and is now more than 400 yards better than his freshman performance. So he's getting better.
Yeah.
And that is incredible to see.
And that's because he stayed one game out because his daughter was born.
Yeah.
Imagine he would have played that game.
Exactly.
Easy, another 150, 200. Easy.
And you look at that, Brendan Brady had 130 something yards in that game. So of course, shouts out to Brady, but if that was just converted over, it wouldn't even be a contest right now.
Yeah.
Best running back in the nation right now is from Judson High School at UTSA.
Yeah. And then you mentioned Brendan Brady, another San Antonio product
from Steele.
So, that tells you that UTSA is building something special out there with the San Antonio boys.
Exactly. And shout out to the offensive line and Coach Maddox. And then you still got a couple of Judson kids about to go on that offensive line as well, Cameron Scott and Rigsby. So, they know where their bread's buttered at. So, and this is great for all of San Antonio, period, because you have a school that now has the leading rusher coming from the city. And this is something that all college campuses, I don't care if it's Austin, U of H, you want to cultivate from within your city, because if you can just keep getting kids from your backyard, it makes recruiting and winning so much better.
Ain't no other kids going to play for their city like the kids from San Antonio.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can recruit Houston, you can recruit Dallas, but they're going to give you the same effort as San Antonio kids playing for the San Antonio University.
Exactly. So just wanted to give Sincere McCormick his flowers and his props on the season that he's having. Some of those runs is just like, wow. Like literally on his 65-yard run, I remember him. And live as opposed to film, I guess you look and see it different. But when I saw that hole open and he hit it up and went to the left just a little bit and just shot out like a cannon, wasn't nobody catching him.
No.
65 yards later, touchdown, UTSA. So that's what I wanted to say. And I'm going to start doing segments like that on kids that are having really good weeks from the San Antonio area at the next level. So the first week, it is Sincere McCormick, 23 carries, 251 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like I said, on the season has a career high 11 touchdowns rushing this year. And UTSA has their spot stamped for the conference championship.
Yeah.
And a bowl game.
Yeah.
So there's still 2 more games left.
And shouts out to Rashad for tying the single season record.
Yeah, 4 interceptions.
4 interceptions.
And honestly, that I thought he had more than that. Yeah. Because he's just been around making hits and doing everything on defense.
Yeah.
So, and he's a definite impact player.
Oh, for sure.
And shout out to Jarvion Williams as well, who is a running back coach at UTSA, because
from Judson,
who Sincere is breaking his records. Yeah. So it's great to see, kids from the same area now on that coaching staff too.
Yeah.
So thank you. I know this has been quite a segment, but we definitely had this information that we wanted to get out to you, and very important that we give as much knowledge and tutelage and guidance for this big decision that the class of 2021 has coming up.
Yeah.
So we just want to make sure that we always impress wisdom on the youth, and we understand that it's a huge commitment that you are about to make, and not to take it lightly, but also don't sell yourself short.
Exactly.
Right. Because what's behind that door might not be what's behind that open door that you have already to go through.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we will be back with our top 25 after this. What it do? We are back. It is B. Damone and Coach Gomez, and we're going to go over the new top 25 for San Antonio High School football. This is week 9-14. If you do not understand that, 5A and 6A schools started 9 weeks ago, but overall it's week 14 from the 4A to 1A schools.
Yep.
So that's what we're going off 9-14. So we've had some games played, and the weekend's over. So this upcoming week, this is your new top 25, 25-1.
25-1.
Let's get it. At number 25, Stevens, coming off of their loss.
Yeah.
Lost to Taft.
Man. I was going for Stevens on that one, and Taft ended up pulling it out.
You know what? I'm not sure who I went for on that one. I want to say it was probably Stevens, but Taft's one of those schools that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
The fighting schools.
Yep.
So Stevens took an L to them. 4-4 on the season now. Number 24, Churchill. Churchill put up a good fight against Brandeis.
They did.
They took that loss. They are down 2 spots from 22 to 24 this week. Harlan. I had Harlan over Brennan.
Yeah.
Harlan took a loss. They are 4-4 on the season, and they are number 23, down 7 spots from last week. Number 22, Southwest Legacy. They had a win via forfeit, and they maintained their same spot. So 23, Southwest Legacy. 21, Warren. They had a bye week. 5-3 on the season so far. Number 20, Taft, as we just said, they beat Stevens, and they are up 4 spots from 24. 5-3 on the season. Congrats to Taft. I mean, they just continue to be around, and whenever you see that score, it's like, they're close.
Always close.
Yeah, always. So shout out to them. Madison is at 19. They won their game over Lee, and they're 5-4 on the season. They finish out next week versus Mac.
Yeah.
They are up 1 spot from 20 to 19. Highlands lost to Lanier.
Yeah.
And they are down 3 spots at 8-18. Now they are 3-1 on the year. Lanier 3-1, up 8 spots over Highlands.
Yeah.
After that victory, so they are number 17. Number 16, Wagner, just lost to Judson.
Lost pretty bad.
Down 6 spots from 10 to
I didn't expect it
16.
to be like that. I think Judson's finally got their momentum going.
Exactly. Number 15, your top 15 in San Antonio now. Memorial is up 2 spots from 17 to 15. They had a come from behind win.
Yeah.
They were down 20 to 13. So to win that 21-20, clutch. And congrats to them. Number 14 is a town that hasn't been messaging me much since the last.
Seguin.
Yeah. Number 14, Seguin. They had their win over Kyle Lehman, 6-2 on the season. They are up 5 spots from 19 to 14. Number 13, Bernie Champion. They are up 1 spot. They had a forfeit win. 6-2 on the season. Number 12, Roosevelt had a bye week. They are 5-3 on the year. Number 11, Smithson Valley, 6-2. They just took a loss to Steele. But do you know what I thought about that? Was kudos to Steele on not letting that Judson game affect them for this week. Cause
they're probably hungry and upset. That's why they came out and took it out on Smith and Valley.
Exactly. That was a tough fought game.
Yeah.
Very evenly matched too. Just in the attitude of the game. Like that final score was like 14 to 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
Very, very good game. Number 10, Alamo Heights beat Kerrville Tivy. They are top 10 in San Antonio, Texas. They are 6-2 on the season, up 4 spots from last week. Now in the city's top 10. Number 9, just talked about them, Cibolo Steel, 6-3 on the year. They beat number 5, Smithson Valley. And they are up 2 spots from 11 last week. New Braunfels Canyon, 8-1 on the year. They are up 1 spot. And they actually won district.
Yeah.
They won their district. So shout out to them. Number 7, with a win by forfeit. They were supposed to play Edison, and unfortunately, yeah. So they maintained their number 7 in the city. Brackenridge did. Johnson 7-1. They just lost to number 3, Reagan. So they are down 5 spots. The former number 1 team in the city lost in a very physical, dominating performance by Reagan.
Yeah.
From start to finish. We'll talk about that. Southside
Cardinals.
They're gonna go 9-0 because next week they have another forfeit, and I kind of feel bad for them because they're gonna be going into the playoffs.
Hadn't played a I'm sure Coach Locke will have those guys ready. I mean, having some intense practices. I guarantee you they're having game-like situations as far as scrimmages and stuff like that.
Right.
I don't think that he's going to let, especially a team right now that's 8-0, an undefeated team, get relaxed.
Exactly.
He's going to be on them.
Exactly. You know, do you think you earned that 8?
Yeah, he's going to be ripping them off, right?
Exactly. Number 4, we got a familiar name back in the top 5. Brandeis at 6-2. They beat number 22 Churchill. They are up 4 spots from last week. So moving up from 8 to number 4. And then you got your suspects as usual in the top 3. You got Brennan at number 3, 8-1. They beat number 16 at the time, Harlan. And we'll talk about that. Number 2, we still got J-Rock Judson at 6-1. They beat number 10 Wagner at the time. Very sound victory.
Yeah.
Honestly, once they went up 2 scores, there was no looking back in that one.
Yeah. Man, they went up early too.
Yes. Quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly. And we have a new number 1 team in San Antonio. Congratulations to Reagan High School at 8-1. They beat the brakes off of Johnson. They beat number 1. They were number 3 at the time. And I don't want to undersell that, because when two schools are that close in ranking, for that game to look how it didn't look like those were 2 top 5 schools.
Yeah.
It just looked like one.
When was that played? Yesterday?
Yesterday. No. That was played Friday. That was just sound. Carson Green, hell of a game. Staten Ankrum had a long touchdown run. Britton Moore's just getting into his own. And he's really developed a lot since I saw them versus Brennan earlier this year. Reagan is a squad that's constantly gotten better. You always expect them to be in every game, but you're not quite sure how it's going to look.
Yeah.
They got an anger to them. That game versus Johnson, they were blowing them off the ball. You had Yates just in on every single play on the defensive line. Just, it seemed like he was attached to the hip of Reasoner, or like he was in on the plays like all the time. And so many pictures. Shout out to Thin Line Works for snapping photos for us at the games. There's so many countless pictures that you just see him like Jaws in the water, like he's coming. So Reagan just has a different mentality right now than I saw them in that Brennan game.
Yeah.
I think they know who they are, and I think that's dangerous for whoever they have coming up in the near future. And in that near future is Brandeis.
Yeah.
Brandeis at number 4, another school that I think this is going to be the best defense that they faced all year. I think Brandeis is one of those schools that has one of the top 2 or 3 defenses, and it's why they continue to hang around.
Yeah.
They haven't been blown out this year because they have a defense that is able to keep them in the game. And that's why I always say they always have a chance, because that defense.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
So I want to see exactly what this game's going to look like next week. that goes down between Reagan and Brandeis next Friday.
That's gonna be a good one, man.
Definitely. Carson Green running into that Brandeis defense. I want to see how they handle that. Either way it goes, but I think they're ready. So that is your San Antonio top 25, and we are going to get into a little bit of the games that that we watched. So we'll be right back. What it do? We are back. It's B. Damone and Coach Gomez at Level Up Productions, and we are going to get into our pick'ems right now. And we switched it up a little bit. We're going strictly San Antonio squads, 6A, 5A, 6A, 5A. So let's get into it. Let's get into it now. Yeah. So I have my pick'em showing, but I don't necessarily have the winner showing. So, all right, got it now. All right, so from the top, take it from the top. Did you have John Jay or Marshall?
Marshall.
I'm going to tell you who I got right now. I had Marshall. And Marshall won 49-42. Do you have O'Connor or Holmes?
O'Connor.
I had O'Connor as well. O'Connor won 38-7. Madison or Lee?
Madison.
I had Madison as well. Madison won 35-3. Reagan or Johnson?
I went with Johnson.
I went with Johnson as well. Johnson lost 52-21.
That's not the Johnson that we had been seeing on TV and
No.
covering the beginning of the season.
No. And we'll talk about that in a second. Next up, Wagner Judson. Who'd you have?
Judson.
Judson won. I had Judson as well, 63-34. Did you have Clemens or East Central?
Clemens.
I had Clemens as well. Clemens won 49-7. Here's one. Did you have Jefferson or Kennedy?
Jeff.
I had Jefferson as well. Jefferson won 25-20. I like seeing Kennedy in these games though.
Yeah.
I like seeing all the schools who, normally underperform.
Like seeing the memorials back.
Yeah.
They were 8 years without a win, 10 years without a win.
Yeah.
And now the last 2 or 3 years since that coach has gotten there. What's his name? Kwame.
Is it Kwame?
I think so. His last name. Ever since he's shown up, he's built a winning program up there, man. He's changed a whole lot. He's gotten involved in the community. Shouts out to Memorial.
And that's a big part of it too.
Yeah, getting involved.
Speaking of, did you have Memorial or Burbank?
Memorial.
I had Memorial as well. I had to double check that because I just wanted to make sure. I did. I did. Did you have Highlands or Lanier?
I had Highlands in that one, and they lost.
I had Highlands too, and they lost 35-24. Scroll down. Did you have Smithson Valley or Steele?
I had Steele on that one.
I had Smithson Valley. Ooh.
Just because I had, my boy Raiden over there, had Hook over there, so I had to go with the guys that I'm familiar with.
Oh, actually, I talked to Coach Harvey and told him about Hooks too. He's like, man, that kid's gonna be the next one out of there.
Yeah.
So I mean, hey, he would know too.
Yeah.
He would know too. New Braunfels Canyon or Harlandale?
New Braunfels Canyon.
Same here. I had New Braunfels Canyon. Seguin or Lehman? Kyle Lehman.
Seguin.
I had Seguin as well. Seguin won. See, Seguin? Seguin.
Get them W's, you get some love. We'll talk about you.
Taft or Stevens? Who did you have?
I had Stevens, man. Stevens lost.
Let me see. Yeah, I had Stevens as well. Stevens lost 41-24. I think that's a letdown. I think that game is one where I think now the mentality has to show itself again next year. It's not going to carry over.
Yeah. Well, Stevens, when we saw him in the beginning of the season, they were riding on a lot of confidence. Their defensive line was just playing lights out, man. And I'm curious to see how the trenches were this past weekend between them two teams.
Exactly, because Taft is going to fight you there too.
Yeah, they both have good linemen.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Next up, Alamo Heights or Kerrville Tybee? Who'd you have?
I went with Alamo Heights from San Antonio.
Alamo, okay. Yeah, I had Alamo Heights as well. 17-9, they won. Did you have Mack or Clark?
I went with Mack, and Clark ended up winning.
Clark won 22-7.
Yeah,
I had Clark. Brandeis or Churchill? Who'd you have?
Brandeis.
I had Brandeis as well. Brandeis won 21-3. We didn't do the Lano Jordanton.
I did that one. I did Jordanton. I don't know who won.
Lano won 31-14. Did you have Corpus Christi Miller or Bernie?
I had Corpus Christi Miller.
I had Corpus Christi Miller as well. They won 70-45. Putting up them basketball scores.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have Floresville or Medina Valley?
Floresville.
I had Floresville as well. They won 21-9. Vets Memorial or McCullum?
Vets Memorial.
Vets Memorial won. I had them as well, 46-0. Holy Cross or Northline Houston?
Holy Cross from San Antonio.
Holy Cross won, 41-0. Would you have picked Wimberley or Sinton?
Wimberley.
Yeah, I would have picked Wimberley too. Do you have Harlan or Brennan?
I had Brennan.
Brennan won.
Even though I'm a Harlan fan, I had to be realistic. It's one of those.
You know why I stuck with Harlan?
Brennan has a fast defense, man. I like their defense.
And I mean, even as I was stoking the fire of my chimenea over the weekend, I went with Harlan because I picked them to win that district, and if they were gonna dig deep and beat Brennan, both these schools been saying each other's names all year.
Yeah, they've been at each other.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then I saw the weather, and I put out the tweet. I'm like, who does this benefit? Because I'm thinking, players, it gets slippery. I think Harlan has more shifty players.
That's
so
what I thought as well.
I'm like, but then ball security has been an issue with Harlan too. And drops have been an issue with Harlan too. So I'm like, that doesn't necessarily help. And then the playing style of Brennan, I thought, was more conducive for them on a regular day. I don't doubt that they're the better team. I'm not doubting that they ever were in this matchup. But I just stuck with my Harlan pick because I picked them before the end of the year, and seeing them fighting back, that just leads you to believe, okay, now if they could do this one more time, maybe in the rain, you get Spriggs the ball. AJ's hard to tackle when it's not wet,
Nah, with the weather, I knew it was gonna be a factor because Harlan likes to throw.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also knew that, all right, if they can keep Brennan from throwing, Harlan gives Harlan a chance because like you said, they had the better running backs and so forth.
Right.
But at the end of the day, when making this pick, the thing that stood out to me is defense wins championships. Right.
Facts.
And Brennan has the better defense, I believe.
Facts.
As much as I'm a Harlan fan and Dre Spriggs and a Cannon Williams fan.
Yeah.
I had to go with let's be realistic, and I think that Brennan has the better defense.
And it's funny because the word "too" kept coming up when I was looking at that game. I was like, Brennan's too physical. They're too well coached. They're too disciplined. And those are things that Harlan's had issues with.
Yeah.
If it's taking the coaching and implementing it on the field, and turning that over to where it's the product that's out there. Harlan hadn't been able to do that consistently for the season, and those are things that I don't question at all with Brennan. And that straightforward style, which I thought would beat Harlan, I necessarily didn't think that on the type of day that it was, because I'm like, okay, it's raining, so that's going to slow them down, and that helps Harlan out because their defense is fast. So even more so, I'm thinking of the angles, but the DuBose brothers, they're a lot to handle, period. And then you have Jalen Spells with a touchdown in the back of the end zone that I got a great picture of that I still haven't put up. It's just a lot. I wanted to get back to that Reagan Johnson game with you. Like you said, that's not the team that we've seen. Does that concern you going into the playoffs with Johnson?
Yes and no. The reason I say that is because I guess Johnson hadn't hit a wall yet throughout their season.
Mm-hmm.
And you're always going to have that one game where it's like nothing went well for you.
Right.
And I'm hoping that was the case with them this past week.
Right.
Going into the playoffs, get that out of their system. But yes, in the back of my mind, it does kind of scare me because now it leaves questions.
Mm-hmm.
All right, can the defense really handle another potent running back like a Carson Green?
Yeah.
Can their defense really stay with the receiver like a Staten Ingram? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and let's not make a mistake about it. It took one of the best receivers and one of the top running backs in the city
to exploit them.
Exactly. And then you just go straight from, okay, how were they able to use them? Boom, it's the O-line. That offensive line was blasting off the line against Johnson. They were making gaps to where Carson just had to make one cut and he's gone.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, okay, so if it was our defense, why wasn't our offense staying in the game with them?
Right.
If they score, we score. We got to have that same mentality. And if for some reason, why wasn't Reasoner and Johnson clicking? You know what I mean? Why wasn't the running back kicking?
Right. And so that's why whenever I talk about Johnson, and I've always said that they've been on time, they were able, like I was saying, Yates, when you got somebody who's as dominant an athlete as Yates is, and he's constantly in that backfield, and you can set them behind on yardage, Reasoner didn't really run in the first half either. That's what kind of surprised me, was when he got to use his feet, they're way more dangerous when he's able to do both.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it was taken away from him by the offensive game plan. I think it was just the Reagan defense that was able to force him to not even be able to think about using that option.
Corralled him.
Exactly.
They wanted so many options.
Exactly. So I'm looking forward. I think Johnson will have a little bit of payback. I think they'll be able to beat up on somebody here in the city. But I think I like seeing that from Reagan because it gave me hope. Like, I'm always looking for hope for who can represent San Antonio when it comes to playing these other area schools.
Yeah.
So another game, like you just spoke about, that I think they already went through all their transgressions of taking losses. You were at the Bernie and Miller game.
Yes.
And I think that Miller is a very dangerous team for the entire state because they've lost 4 games, but they don't play like a team that's lost 4 games.
And they had quality losses.
Yeah.
Those were quality losses.
Exactly.
They weren't just kind of anybody.
Right.
They were quality losses.
Calhoun, Cal Allen, Rockport, and
Vets. Was it Vets?
Yes. Yeah. Who's killing it right now.
Yeah.
In D2, in the 4A playoffs, they're at the same level as Miller is right now.
Yeah.
So all quality opponents with losses. The only question ever for Miller is the defense.
Yes.
But they have the offense. And can you speak a little bit about how their defense was versus Bernie?
Their defense versus Bernie, Bernie got some big plays off of busted plays. Rashad Galloway, shouts out to him. Bought some time, threw some deep balls, ended up getting on the board like that. But overall, I mean, Miller's just too potent. During the first half, Ethan Greenwood took him for 3 or 4 touchdowns. And then, of course, Andrew Body did his thing. But overall, I just like the way that they had a balanced attack, Miller.
Yeah.
I think the week before you had went, and Andrew's the one who was really doing all the running, all the attacking.
Exactly.
Well, this week it was Ethan, and they had a little balance of run attack and then pass attack, they didn't start opening up the pass to the second half, and I think that was really more because of numbers.
Yeah, I think you were messaging me, and I was like, man, this kid's getting all these carries and he's running the ball.
Yes.
Because he had like the first three touchdowns.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And the way they were utilizing him is they had another running back, number 13, that they would have, and then once they got inside the 30-yard line, they would bring in Ethan, which is almost like a little Jerome Bettis.
Yeah.
Dude just comes rolling downhill. Boom, boom, boom,
yeah.
boom. 5-6 yards a pop, even sometimes 10 yards.
And
they utilized him really well. They utilized the short passing game real well with number 7.
Lonnie Atkinson.
Yeah, Lonnie, that kid Lonnie, man. Once he catches the ball and it's in his hand, he's yak after that. Yards after the catch.
Yeah,
that guy's doing his thing. He also had some long touchdowns. I think one was like a 30-yard touchdown, another one was like another 40-yard. It's just a straight go.
Yeah.
Just go.
Yeah.
Do a sprint, and Andrew just chunked it.
So was there a speed difference?
Oh yeah, as far as the receivers, yes. You see, but what concerns me is going to the next round is if there's DBs that can match up with those guys.
Which they have two.
Yeah.
McClutchins and Makuba.
Yeah, so they're going to match up with those guys.
And they have a linebacker in Brandon Jones who was committed to UTSA and now he's at Harvard.
So it's going to be Ken Miller stretch the field, right? Let Lonnie and them take those DBs out.
Right.
And possibly Body and Ethan Greenwood eat it up underneath. Or are these guys going to want to play the run, and every now and then a few busted plays downfield where Body will kill them? So it's going to be – we're going to see how they're going to attack them, man. It's going to be a good game.
I think this is going to be big for the second and third and fourth options of Miller because I think they're going to try to – if you don't shadow Lonnie, I think there's plenty confidence in them going over to Adrian, number 3.
Yeah.
And feeding him as well, because you can't double both.
No,
I do think that LBJ thinks that their safeties and their cornerback is good enough to just lock them up one-on-one. I definitely think that's going to happen. That's going to be fun to see because you got a kid going to Clemson, and then the other one, McClutchin, going to that school that sucks. So, that's going to be interesting matchups.
But overall, and if any of you CC Miller guys are listening, the guys we just named out, if you can show up, Lonnie, and you can show up, Adrian, and do a number on these guys, you will get some phone calls.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you will get some phone calls.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, because right here is where it's basically it's national TV now.
Right.
Anybody could tune in. It's Texas high school playoffs. If you're looking to make a name for yourself and you're saying you're slept on,
exactly,
do your number against Austin LBJ, baby.
Exactly.
And I guarantee you'll get some calls.
Exactly. I'm not. Who is it? Now, Lucas already had all his offers. I was going to say he got another one after that one, but no, he already had all his offers.
No, but you had Omani who did good that day. I mean,
yes.
I'm sure that somebody else reached out to you afterwards. You had
Gardner. Yeah.
He was getting mad love after that game.
Yeah.
Colorado and all that. So go do your thing, and you'll raise some eyebrows.
Yeah. I mean, when you're taking these schools out, they got to pay attention because these schools are already paying attention to what their guys are doing.
Hey, Andrew Body may get a P5 call after that if he goes and does his thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you never know what could happen. Just go and take care of business, one play at a time, execute, and everything else will take care of itself.
All right, so one last game, Wagner-Judson. A little bit disappointed in Wagner. I knew it was a rivalry game. I just didn't think it would look like that. But, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, we're just so spoiled with the last couple of seasons where it was a nail biter at the end. But, you're missing the Joshua Cobbs. You're missing the Tobias Weavers, the DeMarcus guys, so.
Yeah.
Of course, it was a little rebuilding year for Wagner. They did a hell of a job throughout the season, but Judson was just too much for them.
Right. I mean, and it kind of went back to how it was. Like, unfortunately... but shout out Johnny Bowens had a game. Nathaniel Pryor was a monster in this game. Shout out to Anthony Evans. Michael Burrows looked so composed in this game. I think he actually didn't play in the fourth quarter, or they took him out in the fourth quarter, and you got to see some of their backup.
Mm.
So that was good. DeAnthony Lewis just looked like the game's in slow mo for him. How he was getting through the defense. Andre Jones took the 75-yard out route just straight down the line, just outran the entire Wagner defense.
Yeah,
that speed, and shout out to Coach Q. That track team's gonna be nice at Judson too,
for sure.
man. So Judson, last week, last little topic. You got Brennan, Judson, and Reagan all have their last games coming up. Brennan with pretty much the easiest one. And then you got Judson taking on Smithson Valley, who still has something to fight for. And you have Reagan versus Brandeis. Depending on, number one is still up for grabs. I like where Reagan's going, but I can't say that if Judson doesn't smack around Smithson Valley, that they might not end up number one. I was thinking about this on the way over to the studio. I got some grinding to do on stats.
Yeah.
So it's going to be going down. It's going to come down to the wire. And actually, coming down to the wire, we will make this the closing of Along the Wire for the day. And we're going to go out to Cornerstone and catch up with Coach Flight and see what DBs are out there grinding right now.
And Coach Juice from Silverback, see what O-line and D-linemen are out there grinding as well.
Exactly. Exactly. So make sure you follow me on Twitter at @BDamone. Follow Coach Gomez at
STX7V7.
Shout out to Trey Wade for the intro and outro music. Thin Line Works. We are on our way out there to go see Coach Flight. And it's going down in San Antonio, Texas. We are grinding, staying on that grind for you. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel Along the Wire, San Antonio High School football, and stay up to date on all the latest and greatest in the San Antonio area. We're taking over college football.
Yeah.
Already. 210, we out.